Welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to look at an important concept called the Cartesian product. This is a mathematical term from set theory that produces output with every combination from two or more sets. Please don't worry if you're not familiar. I'll explain what a Cartesian product is, how to spot a Cartesian product, and how to avoid that. It's rarely done intentionally and mostly caused by developer error in SQL joins. But as a SQL developer, you need to understand this concept so that you can spot it and identify whether it's intentional or due to an error. You may remember from previous lessons that the on clause with the join condition is optional in most databases. Even though you need to have the correct conditions to join the tables so that you get the desired output, SQL doesn't enforce you to have one of these. When you miss the on clause, each record from the first table will be joined with each record from the second table, but as we haven't specified the condition, all the joins will be successful as the condition by default evaluates to true. This can produce unexpected results. Let's take an example to explain this. Let's take the same data as we looked before. As we discussed, joining these two tables on the continent name produces three records, which are the three matching records based on the join condition. But what happens when you don't specify the condition for the join? Let's see that. As we saw previously, the first record from the continent table will be joined with each of the three records from the country table. Because the join condition is missing, all the conditions will evaluate to true and all three records will be written to the output. Similarly, the second record from the continent table is joined with each of the three records from the country table. Again, because the join condition is missing, all the conditions will evaluate to true and all three records will be written to the output. So we end up having 6 records in the output. Once the columns are renamed as specified in the select clause, the result set looks like this. So we have the 6 records as opposed to the 3 records we expected to see. Having the additional records is not the only problem here. If you look closely, the data is incorrect too. In the third record, we have the continent for Nigeria as Asia. Similarly, in the fourth and the fifth records, we have the continent as Africa for India and China, which is incorrect. This happened because we missed the join condition, and every record in the first table is joined to every record in the second table, immaterial of a condition. As we have 2 records in the first table and 3 records in the second table, we ended up with 2 times 3 equals 6 records in the output. This is how you can identify Cartesian products from the result set. When the Cartesian product happens, the number of records in the output will be the number of records in each of the tables multiplied. This error can quickly get out of hand and cause performance issues and even bring down databases due to the number of records produced in the output. For example, if each of the tables had 1000 records, say, the output will have 1 million records, which is 1000 times 1000. On the other hand, if you had 10,000 records in each of the tables, the output will be 100 million records. As you can see, the numbers can get out of hand very quickly. This could put enormous pressure on the database engine. So please make sure to add the condition where required. Having said that, there are scenarios people intentionally write code to produce Cartesian product. One of the most common use cases is to generate test data for performance testing. If you ever wanted to do that, I would encourage you to use cross joins instead of leaving the on clause out. Cross joins are specially meant for producing Cartesian products. When you use cross join like in this example, you do not have to have the on clause with the condition. For someone looking at the SQL, the intent is also clear that the developer wanted to join every single record from the first table with every single record from the second table and get that in the result set. So please use cross joins for this use case rather than leaving the on clause out. Now that we understand Cartesian products and cross joins, let's switch over to the SQL Studio and see this in action. Here we are in the SQL Studio. I'm going to demonstrate the Cartesian products as well as how to use cross joins. We're going to use the same 2 tables we looked at previously, which is continent and country. Continent has got the 5 records as you can see here, and country has got the top 10 most populated countries. As we discussed, Cartesian products are produced when you don't specify the condition to join the two tables. So let's go back and copy the SQL that we used to create the inner joins with the condition, and we'll change that to produce Cartesian products. So let me execute this as it is. In this statement, we're joining continent with country using the continent name. So we've got the 10 countries here with their corresponding continent details. That's what we expect to see because we joined it using the continent name. But if we, by mistake, leave out the condition and we just join the two tables, as we discussed, every single record from the continent table will be matched to every single record in the country table. So we would expect to see the output with 50 records because there are 5 records in continent table and 10 records in country table. So let me execute that statement. And as you can see, there are 50 records there. Let me explain what we're seeing in the output. As you can see, the continent Africa has been matched to every single record in the country table, which is the top 10 most populated countries here. Similarly, if you go down, Asia has been matched to the 10 countries in the country table. And you can see the same for all the other countries as well. And the results, as you can see, is incorrect because India is not in Africa and China is not in Africa either. As you can see, the result here is the Cartesian product. In order to avoid Cartesian product, please always specify the join condition in the on clause. But as I said before, from time to time, you may want to create Cartesian products intentionally. But whenever you do that, don't use the inner joins like this without the on condition, but instead use cross join. Cross joins are designed to create Cartesian products. So someone new looking at the SQL will know that you are intentionally creating Cartesian product. So in order to create the cross join, you simply have to use the keyword cross in front of the keyword join. When I execute this one, it's going to produce the same result as you can see here, but having the cross keyword here or having the keywords cross join tells someone looking at the code that you intentionally wanted to create Cartesian product, which is always good because otherwise someone will think you've accidentally missed out your on conditions. So I hope with that you now understand what Cartesian products are, how to avoid them, and also when you want to intentionally produce Cartesian products, you should use the cross joins. So that's the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next one.